that brings us back to you and the subject to the Anti-Defamation League.
Yes, Brian, thou shalt not mention the Anti-Defamation League used to be the rule, but their grip is slipping. They started off, of course, as the Anti-Defamation League of the B'nai Berit. So that is, well, if a free translation from the Hebrew would be the pledged men. The B'nai Berit were a very nasty organization indeed, if you look at them. But by the time of the First World War, they had clubbed together to form an Anti-Defamation League over a very disputed claim that a Jewish man had been falsely accused of a rape and murder of a girl. Of course, a very regrettable lynching happened, which I certainly wouldn't condone, but that was the origins of the ADL. Nobody seems to know that background anymore. They just think of it as the people who decide what's good to say. Now, Elon Musk has decided to come out swinging. He's become particularly enamored of a brave Irish journalist and campaigner, Keith Woods, and he's retweeted him quite serially recently, such as here, when Woods is saying the ADL's favorite tactic is financially blackmailing social media companies. Of course, that's why Musk is interested as owner of Twitter or X, blackmailing them into removing free speech on their platforms. They have no legal power, but they have the power of blackmail. They even orchestrated an advertiser boycott of Tucker Carlson. That's their go-to their technique now. Their technique of choice is to tell advertisers, you're supporting Jew haters, you must pull out of Twitter. Well, Musk, first of all, said this, that because he knows advertisers avoid controversy, all the ADL need to do to crush our Western ad revenue, he knows that Asia is different, is to make unfounded accusations. You hate Jews, right? So this controversy causes advertisers in modern American mealy-mouthed parlance to pause, which means to pull out without saying you're pulling out. So he said that that's the relationship they've had with Twitter for many years, this constant cat and mouse blackmail. He says presumably they have that with all Western search, that's maybe Google or social media like Facebook organizations. People got very enthusiastic about this and said, could you please consider releasing the communications that you had and your predecessors at Twitter had with the ADL so we can see what's going on. This would be a once-in-a-century opportunity. Musk replied, great point. A giant data dump would clear the air. Now, the judge in a Colorado defamation suit has fined the ADL for defamation. And this, too, was picked up on by Elon, retweeting ALX, who said, this isn't the first time this has happened. And Musk replies, well, I'm suing them for $22 billion because that's half the value of the company. It's now getting serious. And just en passant, this is how ridiculous things get. Sorry, it's cut off at the top of the screen, but Kanekoa, the great and notorious and useful tweeter, says that the ADL regards all the numbers on screen in those 2 rows of text as hate numbers. All the numbers 1 to 11, 33, 88, 18, etc. They're all hate numbers. Now, this came to a head with Keith Woods himself participating in video or a conference call with audio only, but we have video of it, where several people were getting together to say, what is the truth of the matter? You will see in a moment at the top right-hand side of the right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see Keith Woods' avatar. Towards the bottom right, you will see that of the former Canadian ambassador to Israel, who is a dual citizen. At the beginning of the call, she is having a mank, as we would say, at the beginning of this segment. She's saying, people really accuse me of split loyalties because I have a dual citizenship. I'm an Israeli passport holder too. How dare you? Listen to how Keith Woods comes back at her.
Have already messaged me on Twitter saying, oh, well, we know which side you're on, don't we? A dual citizen, ergo dual Canadian-Israeli citizen, therefore she can't be trusted, can she?
I get this.
People who wrote those messages, any of the people who wrote those messages have the integrity to speak up now and tell me.
Well, Vivian, I have a question. If we're talking about conflicts of interest, is it true you work for an Israeli intelligence firm called Black Cube?
No, who are you? No.
Keith Woods. Nice to meet you.
I get accused of being outside every time I pop into a space.
I think we're going back to the moving away.
No, it's on our Wikipedia.
So you see, she booted herself off the call at that, and it appears that she then deleted her previously very fanfaring Twitter page, her whole account. It's hardly some nutter in a corner that's claiming this. Let's go to CBC, Canada's public broadcaster, as revered there as the BBC is in Britain, at least by the establishment. CBC was openly reporting in 2021 that the ambassador in question, Vivia Bercovici, when she stepped down from her ambassadorial appointment in Tel Aviv, went to work for Black Cube, it's all a bit strange. Why would she say no and get flustered and flounce off the call? A bit of background, and I'm deliberately using quite hard right sites here precisely because they were the only people who noticed the ADL and spoke about them for previous decades, and now they're encroaching further. So I make no apologies for recommending this. CounterPunch a decade ago had the piece ADL Spies about Israel's use of ADL people in the Middle East against Arab countries, and Imperium Press says Elon versus the ADL, a Rubicon moment, ? Saying that Musk is between a rock and a hard place. If he has the cojones, they say, he could really do some harm to the ADL. Otherwise, they will have his guts for garters. And he suggests, the author of this piece, that it could end in assassination if Musk doesn't follow through.
Okay, well, this is a terribly important subject, Alex. There's no doubt about that. It is very controversial, but it's got to be spoken about because otherwise we can have groups censoring the news for their entire personal satisfaction. So we need to stay on it. Okay, where does that take us to?